Priscilla. Is she gonna live?
Well, I'd say that's certain. Her condition's critical but stable. Beg your pardon, but you are a relative?
Relative? No, a friend. A very close friend.
Dandelion, correct? She uttered the name in her few moments of lucidity. I am Joachim von Gratz, head of surgery. Until recently, a lecturer at Oxenfurt Academy.
Enough of the courtesies. What are her injuries, besides her eye?
A concussion, cranial swelling, incision into her larynx, and scalding inside the throat and esophagus. Clearly someone forced her to imbibe a caustic fluid.
So this was no ordinary attack, no robbery.
Clearly not. It was the act of a demented mind, and not its first.
How can you know that?
I've seen wounds like this. They're not the kind one would forget, don't you agree? In fact, just this week a corpse turned up in the morgue with similar injuries. And no heart.
No heart? You mean that might have happened to Priscilla? Is someone looking into this?
This is Novigrad. Only the innocent burn here.
Geralt, I know I owe you 100 times over, but I need to ask you another favor. Find the bastard who did this. Find him. And kill him.
Don't need any convincing. Come on, Dandelion. Let's think about what we can do.
I would suggest examining the previous victim's corpse. It has yet to be autopsied. Doing so could very well provide some clues. No need to look astonished, gentlemen. As a surgeon, I know the importance of preventive medicine. Rather than wait for this maniac to strike again, I'd prefer to excise him. Not unlike a tumor.
Concordo.
Great analogy, but this tumor's not gonna sit there, wait to be excised. Appreciate the help, but I doubt you know what you're getting yourself into.
I know perfectly well, and I assure you I can take care of myself.
Easy assurance to make, harder to back up, especially if you've spent your whole life wielding a scalpel, not a sword.
Look at this scar. Don't be shy. Any idea what leaves such a mark?
A flail. Morningstar, maybe.
What do you think? A blow sustained at the operating table? No? Let me repeat. I know what I'm doing, and I wish to help.
Think they'll let me into the morgue?
By the main entrance, certainly not. But you can also get inside through the sewers.
The sewers? Travel them often, Doctor?
As often as required for, the pursuit of preventive medicine.
Alternative treatments. Aggressive ones, I'm guessing. Interesting.
We can discuss this en route. Are you ready?
Ready and intrigued. I'll get whoever did this, Dandelion. Even if it's Hierarch Hemmelfart himself.
Thanks.
Ma non capisco se è un qualche tipo di serial killer oppure qualche creatura strana. Chi potrebbe fare una cosa simile? Privo del cuore l'altro, eh. Chi potrebbe strappare un cuore? L'unica volta che l'ho visto fare è stato in un film di vampiri, anche se piuttosto demenziale.
So, preventive medicine you practice in the sewers. What's that about?
Think. Hear that?
Been hearing it for a while. Draw your weapon.
Ne riparliamo più tardi. Drowner. Opla! Fuoco! Questo non lo schivi. Ti ho frammentato. Ce ne sono ancora, sta attento. Joachim. Streghe d'acqua. Fuoco! Megera schifosa. Fuoco! Bevi un po', dai. L'acqua ti fa tanto bene. Altri mostri, eh. Ah, e anche qua non li avevo visti. Opla. Sento alle spalle, soprattutto Geralt, eh. Azza, siete davvero brutti in faccia. Che succede? Ah, le rune che ho messo. L'hanno confuso per un attimo, evidentemente.
How's it look? Give it to me straight, no sugarcoating.
Her wounds will heal, but it's her voice that concerns me. Surely you understand what a terrible blow that would be to a Trobritz. Enough to strip her of the will to live.
Any remedy for that?
I fear only your friend Dandelion can be of help on that count.
Quindi è peggio ancora. Che bastardo. Giuro che lo ucciderò al responsabile. Pietà non pietà. No, non di qua. Per di qui allora. Non vedo, cioè non sento altri mostri però.
Take the ladder.
Ma va? Pensavo di dover volare.
This is the place. Come, the quicker we take care of this, the better.
Why? Got somewhere to be?
Someone might disturb us. The coroner, for example. Or Reverend Nathaniel Pastodi.
Nathaniel Pastodi?
We seek the corpse of a dwarven woman.
Arrivo subito. No, di qua non si va, credo. No, chiuso. Dove sei? Eccoti. Mi fai passare? Mi fai passare! No, per essere un obitorio ci sono parecchie birre qui, Non mi sembra un nano questo.
Wrong body type.
È di sicuro questo. Aspetta, no, non è un nano.
Looks like necrophage has got to this one. Let's keep looking.
Non è che magari l'ha messo in una stanza segreta? L'uomo che fischia i cavalli ancora? È uno dei più gettonati. Allora è di qua, da qualche parte. Qui. Sembrerebbe questo.
Calluses on the fingers, sawdust in the beard, clothes sticky with sap. Must be our dwarf.
Excellent. I trust you don't grow weak in the knees at the sight of blood.
Did. Start the autopsy.
Where?
Testa.
Let's look at his head. Hair smells like it's burnt, like he was in a fire.
Notice anything else? That his eyes have been scooped out, for instance?
Those burn marks I see in his eye sockets.
Yes. And some grey dust. Ash, it seems. Very fine.
Murderer gouged out his eyes, then put burning coals in the sockets.
So it seems. Looking at the wounds, it appears our woodcarver was still alive when it happened.
Era quello che temevo.
Let's examine the mouth. Burns, blisters.
Just like Priscilla's.
See this? Incision made into the voice box.
Indeed, so thin as to be nearly unnoticeable.
A small, extremely sharp instrument. Scalpel.
But why? The wound is too small to bleed, and there are signs of swelling. The murderer... I believe he performed a tracheotomy, so the victim wouldn't die too soon.
Let's examine his torso.
What have we here? Deep wound on the left side of his rib cage, and a scar the length of his stomach.
Let's examine the chest wound. Yeah, heart carved out, wound cauterized.
Wait a minute, there's something else.
An egg from an amphibian. A salamander? Scorched but intact.
I attended some lectures in herpetology as a student. afraid I don't recall any amphibians that would lay eggs in corpses. So either Professor Cochrane was deeply mistaken, or this is our murderer's doing.
Look at the scar. Wounds long and thin, an incision, but the edges are ragged.
Means nothing. Look, no swelling, no bruises. An old injury, perhaps an accident in the workplace.
Open the abdominal cavity.
Due warning, it will stink of rot.
Once fought a Zoogle up to my waist in sewage, so I doubt... Wait. Smells not rot.
Formaldehyde. A medical novelty. Heavily diluted, it's remarkable at preserving organic tissue. In stronger proportions, it's more destructive than acid.
Explains why there's no smell of decay, and why his throat's scalded. Look at his hands. These welts. Rope burns, right? He was tied up.
I'd expect so. No one could sit through such torture unless bound.
Speaking from experience?
Yes, that of a victim. Spent a year in the dungeons of Tretogor. Long story.
Some other time, maybe. See the callus? Our dwarf wore a ring, but someone took it off him.
Le gambe
See
cosa
anything
hanno?
interesting on his legs?
His right foot. The ankles swollen, toenails broken. He clearly kicked something very hard. Right before he kicked the bucket.
Doesn't strike me as the right time for jokes.
Apologies. We surgeons, we've a different sensibility.
And a different sense of humor.
Andiamo nella zona erogena.
His genitals. We ought to inspect those.
I sincerely doubt they bear any relation to the matter.
We'll see. Pull down his trousers and... shit.
Syphilis, actually. Early stages. No sign of diffusion.
Think there could be a connection?
Only as the killer's potential motivation.
Che schifo.
All right. Think I know enough.
Enlighten me, please, because I've still no notion what this is about. What the motive might have been.
Direi un omicidio rituale.
It's some kind of sick ritual. You saw it. Burns in the eye sockets, cavity where the heart should be, scalding liquid, all centering on warmth, heat, fire.
A fire eternal.
It's a lead worth following. Any idea what his name was?
Fabian Meyer. And I'm Hubert Reich, the coroner. I've come to perform the autopsy, but I see you've done it for me, Joachim. As always, you interfere where you're neither needed nor wanted, drag others into trouble in the process. Who is this?
A student. Lifelong learner. Got a couple questions for you.
Very well, speak. But be quick. Reverend Nathaniel has come by for an inspection. He'll be here shortly.
You old friends?
Hubert taught me the rudiments of medicine. Long ago.
And not very well. You've still not mastered certain basic principles. For example, that a doctor's role is to treat the ill, not save the world.
You've not changed a bit.
A compliment?
No, a statement of fact. 30 years, and you've not changed a bit.
In effetti, come fa ad aver insegnato tutto se lui è più giovane dell'altro? Un po' come il giovane Grigori che era più vecchio del vecchio Grigori. In pochi la capiranno.
Woodcarver's body. Where was it found? It's important.
Plan to investigate? Exciting. He died in his workshop south of the market square, just beside the gate to Far Corners. That poor Trebirates was attacked there. City's abuzz about it. But the woodcarver, Eustace the corpse collector, brought us the body. You should speak to him. Saw him just around the corner near... Oh, greetings, your reverence.
Who are these people? I believe I made it clear no one's to be allowed in under any circumstances.
You did, but they're friends of the deceased. Here to collect the body.
Out of the question. Show them out at once.
As your reverence wishes. Gentlemen, follow me. You shall leave via another route.
Why do you cover for us?
I was covering my own arse. If Reverend Nathaniel had learned someone had entered the morgue, then cut open a corpse without his permission, I'd be in deep trouble. But you didn't give that a thought, did you, Joachim? As ever. Well, while I don't approve of your willfulness, I also wish to see this murderer hang. So, should I learn anything new related to this case, I will let you know.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, who is he?
A scoundrel, a rogue, like every man who wears the robes of the eternal fire.
Most are scoundrels before they ever put on the robes.
True in his case as well. Before he donned the frock, Nathaniel was a torturer, delighted especially in torturing women. Later, Hierarch Hemmelfart appointed him to oversee the morgue. He deals with the temple guard, supervises cremations, conducts funeral masses in the temple on the Isle, and so forth.
Dream job. Might have told me you know the coroner. We could have skipped the trip through the sewers.
I know him, thus I avoid him. I've said enough on the subject.
No, dimmi di più di questo.
I decide when we're done with this subject. What's your connection to him?
An old story, but if you insist. The student protests in 1242, you've heard of them? I led them. Hubert, however, denounced me to the authorities. I landed in prison. There you have it. What will you do now?
Che infame.
Plenty of leads. Woodcarver's workshop, the corpse collector who found him, alley where Priscilla was attacked. Got work to do.
As do I. At the hospital. I must return there. But I shall keep my fingers crossed.
And I'll keep my eye on you.
D'accordo. Allora, dove... Ehi, aspetta. Ecco. Dove dobbiamo andare? Il becchino Eustace. Abbiamo marto l'intagliatore. Intanto, sì, penso che parlerò col becchino. Poi la scena del Mine?
You Eustace, the corpse collector?
Aye? How'd you know?
Fourth sense, I think it is. You bring Fabian Meyer's body to the morgue?
Fabian? Oh, yeah, I remember. No ice, no art, one of them, right? No purse neither, as I recall.
One of them? So there have been other bodies like that?
Sure have. Beggars, street urchins, and street walkers. One went so portly, I had to cut her into pieces to fit her in me wheelbarrow. Slippery sow, they called her, on account of
Some things are best left unsaid. What happened to the pieces?
What do you mean? Reverend Nathaniel ordered them burned. Every last one. Oh, shame that was.
Shame? Why? Actually, never mind. Another thing that's best left unsaid. You searched Fabian's body?
Well, I cast an eye in his pockets. Made sure nothing went to waste.
I call a spade a spade. You rob corpses.
And I call a prick a prick. It's none of your fucking concern. What, you a tax collector? Piss off, mutant.
Parla!
What did you find on him?
As you wish. Triflings, baubles, glass-beaded ring, handful of coins, and a letter. Look, vellum, quality parchment that. I'll wipe off the writing and sell it as new.
That's human skin. Priscilla. Next victim's name. If you'd given this to the right person, she might not have been hurt.
What the fuck do I care what happens to some Priscilla? We short of wenches in this town.
Get out of my sight. Now.
Evapora. Sei un millepiedi. Ora passiamo all'altro luogo del delitto. Tutti gli indizi sembrano insomma indicare Nathaniel. Ma se c'è qualcosa che ho imparato dalle mie passate esperienze con CSI e vari altri polizieschi, non è quasi mai il primo indagato quello colpevole. Ah no, qua c'è la casa stregata in cui vivono la Oniromante e la Godling. Da che parte devo andare allora? Mi si prende in giro di nuovo? Oh mio Dio, queste mappe moderne. Passerò per di qua. Si può? Si può? Eh? Ti prego, salta sopra, non intendo rifare il giro. No, Staresti guazzru, non vai sopra. Detesto questa mappa. E vabbè. Seguiamo di nuovo la mappa. Per caso non ce la faccio neanche stavolta, vado nell'altro punto nell'altra scena del crimine, insomma.